Australia with Advocate. Visit us on 10th February at the Hotel Galadari.
A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Sri Lanka celebrates 76th Independence Day celebrations. World leaders extend wishes. Thailand Prime Minister leaves Sri Lanka, concluding official visit. President plans to connect Sri Lanka to regions including Iran via land bridge of Kra Canal. Cardinal calls for a transition to new leadership in Sri Lanka.
රටේ ආගමට සංස්කෘතියට ගරු කරන විශේෂයෙන්ම රට ඔසවන්නට කැපවෙන නව නායකත්වයකට එය බාර දී යුතු වෙනවා කියා මම අවංකවම විශ්වාස කරනවා.
Police fire tear gas and water cannons to disperse protest in Kilinochchi. Government celebrates Independence Day with the people in the Deep South.
And now the stories in detail. The 76th Independence Day was celebrated with pride at Golfwest Green this morning. The celebrations were presided over by President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The theme for this year's Independence Day was Let's Build a New Country.
Dinesh Gunawardena මැතිතුමාගේ පැමිණීම.
Prime Minister of Thailand, Srettha Thavisin, attended the 76th National Independence Day celebration as the guest of honour.
ගරු තායිලන්ත අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය ශ්‍රේතා තවිසින් මැතිතුමාගේ පැමිණීම.
The celebration began with the arrival of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
ජනාධිපති සහ සඩන් සේවා සේනාධිනායක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා සහ මහාචාර්ය මෛත්‍රී වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිණියගේ
The president then hoisted the national flag and the national anthem was sung by a group of school students. Blessings were invoked by the recital of Jai Mangala Gatha and Devo Vassatu Kalena stanzas. After that, 2 minutes of silence were observed for the heroes who sacrificed their lives for the country. Thereafter, the customary 21-gun salute was presented by the Sri Lanka Artillery Regiment.
ජනාධිපති සම්මාන උත්තමාචාර අයි.
The next phase of the day's agenda was the colourful Tri-Service Guard of Honour accorded to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
සම්මාන මුරේ ඉතිරි කොටස කරගෙන යාමට ඔබතුමාගේ අවසරය පතමි. ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමනි. ත්‍රිවිධ සම්මාන මුරේ
Thereafter began the parade that comprised of tri-service officers and other ranks, police, STF and civil security department personnel, National Cadet Corps members and physically disabled war heroes, both retired and still serving in their respective ceremonials.
உங்கள் முன்பாக இப்பொழுது ஆரம்பிக்கப்பட்ட இலங்கை
76வது சுதந்திர And they commenced in the year 1985. The arrival of the Corps of Engineers.
The day's military section of the parade included hardware columns of Army, Navy and Air Force vehicles, some of which are famed for amphibious operations that were rolled down the boulevard of the iconic Gulf Face Greens. The aircraft of the Sri Lanka Air Force also took to the skies.
Commando parachute පුහුණු පාසලේදී parachute පාඨමාලාව හදාරා යුද හමුදාවේ commando
regiment. The Navy also displayed their might on the sea.
ඒ සමග ඔබ දකිනවා
The 76th Independence Day celebrations concluded with the singing of the national anthem in Tamil. The Sri Lanka Navy honoured the nation by according a 25-gun salute on board Sri Lanka Navy ship Sayura. The ceremonial tradition was executed at the directives of Commander of the Navy Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira under the guidance of the commanding officer of the ship, Captain Lakshman Amarasinghe.
Load! Number 1 gun, fire!
Since 1948, the Navy has uninterruptedly performed this military honour at the Gulf Face on board ships.
Number 2 gun, fire!
In his message to mark the 76th Independence Day, the President stressed on the importance of obtaining insights from the past mistakes and avoid repeating them in the future.
In his message to mark the Independence Day, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said, quote, "As we commemorated the 75th year of our nation's independence, we encountered the indignity of being labelled a financially bankrupt country. Nevertheless, upon the advent of the 76th Independence Day, we have effectively navigated through these challenges, steering the economy towards stability despite numerous impediments and challenges." Unquote. With the current growth trajectory acknowledged globally, he asked for a collective effort to persist on this path and reinstate prosperity. The President concluded his message by inviting all Sri Lankans at home and abroad to contribute their utmost energy to the noble mission of rebuilding our nation. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena's Independence Day message highlights our gradual return to the right path after overcoming a significant economic crisis. He details our progress through implemented measures focused on food security, rural revitalization, and building a productive economy. In his message to mark the Independence Day, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa highlighted that rulers have a critical responsibility, unequivocally pledging to secure freedom. He said that safeguarding freedom is a shared responsibility of all citizens. He urged continuous vigilance and protection of hard-won freedom, stressing that it is not a static achievement but an ongoing endeavour.
Multi-religious observances were held in line with the 76th Independence Day celebration.
Buddhist religious observances for Independence Day were held at the Kolpiti Pulvatta Shri Dharmakirtiyarama Vihara and was led by the Most Venerable Professor Attangane Ratnapala Thero, the Adhikarana Nayaka of the Sri Lanka Ramanya sect. A special Holy Mass for the Independence Day was held at the All Saints Church in Boralla this morning. The Holy Mass was celebrated by His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit.
සිංගප්පූරුවේ නිදහසින් පසු නායකත්වය බාරගත් අය පළමුවම කළේ එහි වාසය කළ.
After independence in Singapore, the leaders who rose to power first created unity among communities with a Malay, Chinese and Indian heritage and chose a path for the well-being of them all. Instead of that, our leaders divided people, speaking different languages and following different religions in the country. The police and the Attorney General's department in that country gave due regard to their Supreme Court and enforced the law to the letter, and their priority was to create a disciplined society. While leaders of Singapore were honest and selfless and are highly regarded across the world, leaders in our country are deceiving the people, in their selfish quest for position, power and money. At a time when Sri Lanka is suffering economically and politically, I would like to ask these leaders, whose independence are you celebrating? Are you celebrating your freedom or the freedom of the people of this country? I would like to question them as to if inviting foreign ambassadors and parading before them and other VIPs in the country, the military, the police and the air force, and insulting the people who are starving is your definition of celebrating independence. This beautiful motherland of ours is indeed unfortunate. We should take steps to free this country from the clutches of this oppressive ruling class. I honestly believe that we should drive out these corrupt leaders and bring in new leadership who loves the country and respects the religions and culture of our country.
Hindu religious observances were held at the Pillar Kovil. The ceremony was led by the Hindu priest Shivashri Satchitananda. Another ceremony was held at the Colombo Al-Sar Masjid and was attended by Foreign Minister President's Counsel Ali Sabri. Many world leaders today expressed their well wishes for Sri Lanka's 76th Independence Day. The President's Media Division said that His Holiness Pope Francis, His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom, His Majesty the Emperor Naruhito of Japan, President Joe Biden of the United States, President Vladimir Putin of Russia, President Xi Jinping of China, President Yoon Suk Yeol of South Korea, President Draupadi Murmu of India, President Tharman Shanmugaratnam of Singapore, President of Libya Dr. Mohammed Y. Al-Menfi, Governor General of Australia General David Hurley, as well as the President of Pakistan, President of Bangladesh, Amir of the State of Kuwait, extended their wishes.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed enthusiasm for the proposed land bridge of Kara Canal by Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin during his visit to Sri Lanka, connecting the country to the Asia-Pacific and other regions.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed enthusiasm for the proposed Kara Canal land bridge, which would connect Sri Lankan ports to the Asia-Pacific. He also spoke about using this avenue to connect Sri Lankan ports to other regions.
When Asia is picking up again and the development of the Asian economies are coming in from Asia Pacific to the Indian Ocean and more so to the East African countries. We were there, I was there just 2 weeks ago. The potential by the mid-century will be there. So here are two countries, one at a strategic location in the Asia Pacific and another here. So let's get together. And that's why I welcome the Prime Minister's proposal on the land bridge of Kara Canal, where from there the ports of Sri Lanka open. Colombo, Hambantota. We are developing Trincomalee with India, which means when the connectivity comes to India, whole of South India can come to Trincomalee and use the Kara land bridge. It's up to you, Prime Minister, to market it there in India. We are ready for it. So there is potential in all this. Not merely going to India, but also our ports are also connected. We will be connecting to Africa. We are already connected to Europe. We are also looking at the new roads that will come, both the Chava port in Iran, which will take you to Central Asia, and the new India, UAE, Middle East, Europe route. So all the routes are there. This is why it is very important for us to work together in this field, where we are all hoping to become regional logistics centers.
The President was speaking at the Thailand-Sri Lanka Business Forum yesterday, organized in line with Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin's visit to Sri Lanka. He left the island this afternoon, concluding his official visit.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa raises the question of whether there is real freedom in the country.
අධිරාජ්‍යවාදී බලවේගවල යටත් විජිතවාදී රටක් බවට පත් නොවුණා.
While political independence from colonial powers marks a momentous occasion, today we must ask, does true freedom exist in the country? Freedom of speech, political participation, opinion holding and exposing truths have been violated by the Speaker's approval of the Online Safety Act. Despite the Supreme Court recommendations, haven't 22 million citizens lost their economic autonomy due to the country's financial crisis? Does real freedom exist when ordinary citizens exercising their democratic rights face water cannons, batons and tear gas? When peaceful protests for the people and for their grievances are met with such force, the very essence of freedom seems to be lost.
ජනතාව ලක් වෙනකොට රටේ සැබෑ නිදහසක් තිබෙනවද කියන එක ගැන ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබෙනවා.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa expressed these views while donating a smart classroom worth 1 million rupees to the Hapagala Mahavidyalaya in Galle, a part of the 83rd phase of the Sakvala program.
Time for a short commercial break. Stay with Newsfirst. We will be right back.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Study in Australia with Edlocate. Visit us on 10th February at the Hotel Galadari.
Education, an invaluable asset that can never be taken away from you. Laying the foundation stone for a new library building for the students of Nakia Deniya Udagama, aiming to open new doors for a brighter future. Gamnanda, for the people, by the people.
TV1, Sri Lanka's premier infotainment channel. In support of Sri Lanka's unique tradition of art and design, presents The Genius of the Place, the story of Jeffrey Baba, a film by Abdel Aziz. Exclusively aired in Sri Lanka on TV1, 11th of February at 5:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're with News First. Police fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse a Jaffna University Students' Union protest in Kilinochchi.
The Jaffna University Students' Union held a demonstration in Kilinochchi today, demanding solutions to their problems and true freedom. Political representatives, civil society members, families of missing persons and others joined the protest. Police fired tear gas and water cannons at the protesters when they attempted to cross the Iranamadu junction in Kilinochchi. Five people were arrested during the protest and were released on police bail this afternoon.
Marking Independence Day, a march titled Freedom March for Social Justice was held in Jaffna today.
The march titled Freedom March for Social Justice was organised by the Jaffna Civil Society Centre. The march kicked off near the Jaffna Library and concluded at the Jaffna Town Hall.
Today, Sri Lanka celebrates its 76th Independence Day. However, for many Tamils, a culture of repression symbolized by the black flag has persisted for 75 years. Yet, amidst this struggle, Tamils are still actively celebrating their freedom and independence, and the fight for equal rights will undoubtedly continue until they are achieved.
A special meeting was held in Jaffna thereafter.
A group of civil activists launched a fast today near Town Hall.
Security was deployed to the area before the civil activists arrived to launch their fast. The group fasted for almost 4 hours. They highlighted that the country lacked the kind of freedom people could truly celebrate.
Foul pitting
As people gathered to celebrate Independence Day with genuine enthusiasm, they were met with a restricted zone, barring them from entry. Guns and laws meant to protect were aimed at the public. Today everything has been turned against the people. They are focusing on appeasing external entities and businessmen at the expense of citizens and the state's resources. They are taking what is left of the collapsed economy and try to please everyone. The sovereignty, independence and the power of the state is towards the public.
The silent protest demanding for a country free of corruption was held in Thimrigasaya for the 250th day. The protest continued despite Independence Day celebrations across the country.
Sri Lanka is celebrating its 76th Independence Day today. And once again, on a Sunday evening, these people of Colombo are back again to the streets of Thimrigasaya, demanding for a country free of corruption, demanding for their freedom of speech, and demanding for transparency.
Can you celebrate this independence the way we are being throttled by the government? They are bringing the online safety bill, then they are bringing the ATA and all sorts of things just to stop the people by coming out and saying what they need to say. So all that I want to say is, like what the president says, independence, what bunkum? I'm using his words. What bunkum is it?
When people are starving, people don't have food, people don't have education, people don't have electricity. And he can spend 350 million on an absurd, unnecessary extravaganza only for himself to see, and people from overseas. I'm sorry, we're a bankrupt nation. We should prioritize and see what is our need right now, and it certainly isn't a gala celebration on Independence Day. After all, as far as I'm concerned, we are not independent. We are so dependent on everything. So I would say happy Dependence Day.
We need accountability and we need system change, and we have very little faith in our President Ranil Wickremesinghe. People are against these type of rulers. People want change. We want to see an election happen soon.
Several other protests were also held today.
Several parties, including the People's Council, organised protests in various parts of Sri Lanka. A protest was organised in Anuradhapura titled Mun Pannamu Nidahas Vemu, loosely translated to Let's Chase Them Away and Be Free.
With limited funds to feed the people, celebrating independence seems wasteful. Who are you trying to deceive? This country has no freedom to celebrate.
Another protest organised by the People's Council was held in Negombo.
The living conditions in our country are in dire straits. The rising cost of everything from food to utilities like electricity severely impacts people's ability to live comfortably.
The People's Council organised a programme to collect signatures at the Dambulla market. Another protest organised by the People's Council was held this afternoon in Kurunagala. A protest titled Poshane Horakaya Ratak Samaran Nidahasa, loosely translated to Independence Day celebrations in a malnutrition-stricken country, was held at the Sanat Jayasuriya ground in Mathura.
පෝෂදායි ආහාර වේලක් දරුවෙකුට දෙන්න බෑ. ඒකට මේ හැම ප්‍රශ්නයකටම මුහුණ දෙන්නේ කාන්තාව අම්මා. එතකොට අපි මේ වෙනුවෙන් ඇත්තටම අපිට නිහඬව හිටියා හොඳටම ඇති. මේ රටේ පාලකයන්ට මේව පේන්නේ නැද්ද? මේගොල්ලෝ මර නින්දේද?
On to business news now. Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security Nalin Fernando said raids will be conducted to locate traders who do not display the specified weight of a loaf of bread and its price in stores.
If a trader sells a loaf of bread, it should weigh 400 grams. If they sell half a loaf of bread, it should weigh 250 grams. With effect from Monday, we have instructed the Department of Measurement Units, Standard and Services to take action on this.
Twin publications on father and son, Vaithalingam Dureswamy and Yogendra Dureswamy, were launched in Colombo yesterday. The books were penned by Sivanandis Dureswamy.
Two publications titled Clippings from the Life and Times of Sir Vaidhyalingam Dureswamy and My Diplomat was launched in Colombo yesterday. The books were penned by Sivanandani Dureswamy, wife of Yogendra Dureswamy and daughter-in-law of Sir Vaidhyalingam Dureswamy.
I didn't do political science nor history, but reading and living the life of a diplomat helped me to write about Yogendra, and then the clippings, the readings of the clippings helped me to write the life story of Sir Vaidhyalingam Dureswamy. Yogendra, the son, followed the footsteps of his father, and that is why I decided that these were twin publications, one the father and the other the son.
Justice Sasi Mahendran spoke about the publications during the event.
These books are far more than historical accounts. It is an exceptional rare to find stories that transcend inordinate stories that not only illustrate our past but also direct us towards brighter future. As we reflect on the lives of Sir Vaidhyalingam Dureswamy and his son Yogendra Dureswamy, we celebrate their unwavering dedication to Sri Lanka and their endorsing contribution to justice, peace and unity.
Professor Arjuna Parakrama from the University of Peradeniya reviewed the publication and work of Sir Vaidhyalingam Dureswamy, the Speaker of the House from 1936 to 1947.
My humble intervention today is then a celebration of Sir Vaidhyalingam's life and values, as well as the performance of obsequies for a lost time, a bereft space trapped in the past. This should not be. Systems need to be in place, institutions need to function, which go beyond individuals. The welfare of the world is in the goodness of those who govern. It depends on the nature that resides within. We must believe otherwise, but yet, without visionary leaders of the kind of Sir Vaidhyalingam, we are doomed to echo Antonio Gramsci referring to a different kind of fascism, of which I shall use the liberal translation of Zizek. I quote, "The old world is dying, the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters."
Professor Savitri Gunasekara reviewed My Diplomat, a publication on Yogendra Dureswamy, who was in the first batch of Sri Lanka's Foreign Service and retired prematurely to serve as District Secretary for Jaffna and Kilinochchi.
2024, ladies and gentlemen, is a critical year for seeking important decisions on the progress and development of a country that we all love. The launch of the second edition of the book has given us an opportunity to recall Mr. Dureswamy's vision. He said, and I'm quoting, "This was surely the forerunner of many efforts in nation building. The day has dawned when we, as sons and daughters of Mother Lanka, should work unitedly to create a new nation where peace, equality, freedom and justice shall prevail, and where every citizen shall live with honor and self-respect, free from fear or want." I hope that we can collectively recognize the relevance and importance of a new commitment to give life and meaning to that vision.
The book launch was attended by industry professionals, local community members, well-wishers and friends and others.
As the nation celebrated her 76th year of freedom, Gammadda marked Sri Lanka's Independence Day in the deep south with the people.
The day's proceedings began with Gammadda commencing a water project for the students of the Berelihela School in rural Lunugamvihira. The foundation stone was laid for the construction of a water storage and distribution system by senior members of the Gammadda team and government officials. Professor Winston Pastor Pires, Shiran Ramzi, Mohideen Hassan and Nalini Piyasena joined hands with Gammadda to support this project. The nearly 500 students of this school will soon have access to clean water And this gave them even more reason to celebrate this Independence Day. The day then progressed to the Gammadda Independence Day celebration. Thousands of farmers, students, parents, teachers and others from surrounding villages joined the festivities as Gammadda marked Independence Day, giving first place to the people. Having dedicated time to religious observances, a minute of silence was also observed in memory of fallen war heroes. This year's Gammadda Independence Day celebration was special for another reason. It saw the launch of the Jala Jana Rally, an island-wide movement aimed at restoring Sri Lanka's deep-rooted connection to our hydraulic heritage. Vessels carrying water from Sri Lanka's most ancient vavas, main rivers and the Sea of Sri Lanka will be taken to people in all corners of the island as a symbol of the greatness of the water resource of our nation, and also to remind ourselves of our past greatness founded on Sri Lanka's Vava civilization, the only one of its kind in all the world. The Jala Jana Rally will now make its way across the country. Speaking at the Gammadda Independence Day event today, Siobhan Daniel of the Gammadda movement spoke about the importance of young people seeing beyond the crisis towards opportunity.
We know that while Independence Day is celebrated today, there are many young Sri Lankans whose only hope is to leave this beautiful country and travel overseas. I would like to ask all of these young Sri Lankans to look beyond the challenges of today and set your eyes on the opportunities of the future. The challenges we face today are temporary. Those who cause them are also temporary, but Sri Lanka is forever. And our commitment should also be forever.
A senior government official, Divisional Secretary for Lunugam-Vihara, I.L. Vikramanayaka, noted the people's trust in Gammadda.
Gammadda provides solutions to the issues of helpless people across the country. We know that when the people of a village or community are helpless or face adversity, the first thing that comes to their mind is Gammadda. Today, Gammadda is very close to the hearts of the people across Sri Lanka.
Celebrating Sri Lanka's 76th Independence Day with ordinary Sri Lankans in the deep south allowed the people and especially the youth to be part of their independence. After all, independence was won by the people, and with Gammadda, it was celebrated with them.
Newsfirst with the people.
The graduation ceremony of the Centenary Academy was held in Colombo.
The graduation ceremony of the third cohort of the Centenary Academy and the induction of the fourth cohort of the Centenary Academy was held in Colombo today. The event was held under the auspices of Chairman of the Sarvodaya Institute, Dr. Vinya Aryaratna and Madara Aryaratna.
In the current parliament, there are 11 parliamentarians below the age of 35. 10 out of the 11 are political babies, in the sense that either their father or mother were involved in politics and they have inherited their position. There is a question as to if they come up using their own strength. There is only one person in parliament below the age of 35 who does not have any connection to a political family. If a culture of mediocrity is created, we can reach our true potential. We believe that you can perform a yeoman service to this nation.
The result of the program to collect signatures against the online safety bill and the anti-terrorism bill was also unveiled at the event.
We speak today in the context of the Anti-Terrorism Act bill, the online safety bill. This, I think, is another pernicious example of our broken so-called representative democracy. It is turning unrepresentative right now. I think I'm correct in saying that this is the bill that had the most number of challenges in the Supreme Court, 46 petitions against it. Already, that is a good signal to those in power that there is a lot of resistance against it. The second signal, among many others, was that the Supreme Court itself gave a decision that said that certain amendments needed to be made or the law could not be passed because it was unconstitutional. And then you had widespread protests. You had people from the tech industry who would normally not stand up, who have not been very vocal on issues of democracy, standing up and saying that this would be a harbinger of bad news, of bad times, of suppression for the country. And yet, we have our so-called representatives, our non-representatives, passing this law.
The Centenary Academy is a diverse, results-driven political movement with a 2048 vision of creating a progressive, well-trained, competent generation of political leaders for Sri Lanka who will transform the political, economic and social landscape of the country.
Moving on to news overseas, a third round of joint strikes was carried out by the United States and the United Kingdom targeting the Houthi rebels in Yemen.
The latest round of joint strikes was carried out on 36 targets in 13 locations within Yemen, according to a joint statement, and targeted deeply buried weapon storage facilities, missile systems and launchers, air defense systems and radars. The aim, foreign media reports, is to try to deter further attacks against international shipping. It comes just one day after the US struck 85 targets in Syria and Iraq in response to last Sunday's deadly drone attack on a US military base in Jordan, which killed 3 soldiers. The Houthis have vowed to respond to US and British strikes after dozens of targets of the Iran-backed group were hit. A spokesperson for the rebel group said on X that this third round of joint UK-US strikes would not deter them from their moral, religious and humanitarian stance in support of Palestinians.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.